Hey, what's up everyone? Ace Antonio here with another Beat Stop video, and today's topic is really special because you all voted for this one. A couple of weeks ago, we ran a poll on Instagram and Twitter and asked that of two topics, festival cancellations and destination events, which one sounded more interesting to you all for us to do a deep dive on? And surprise, surprise, it was festival cancellations. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. But before we get started, if you are not following us on those other platforms, go ahead and follow us at the Beat Stop TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with us. Here on our YouTube channel, we're putting out about 2 videos a month. So if you want to keep up with us in the in-between, see what we're up to regularly, go ahead and follow us on those channels. And more importantly, if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead, take a second, hit that subscribe button. We are about 15 episodes into this season. We've introduced a new host, Alice, and we've got a lot of content coming out. Now, on to the topic. So if you've been going to music festivals for the past 5, 4, even 3 years, something that you've probably seen with more frequency are festivals getting canceled. So today I wanted to talk about the various reasons that these festivals get canceled. To get started, I just wanted to give a quick snapshot of festivals from this year alone that have gotten canceled. Now I have a list in front of me, and these events are Sasquatch, End of the Rainbow, Vestiville, Electric Fields, Float Fest, Sunsoaked, Nocturnal Wonderland by Insomniac just announced their final run this year. Suwannee Halloween was canceled and then uncanceled within a matter of months. So first and foremost, the obvious nail in the coffin is financial challenges. When it comes down to it, the goal of a music festival is to turn a profit. A music festival is, in the end, a business with the goal of making money. And music festivals are extremely expensive, and they are very high-risk productions. We are talking tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, depending on the scale of the festival in question. And music festivals typically have a break-even point of about 60 to 80% of capacity. A break-even point is the amount of product or services that a brand needs to sell, in this case, ticket sales, before turning a profit. So if a break-even point for EDC, for example, is 75%, that means EDC Las Vegas would need to sell 75% of their tickets just to cover the cost of throwing that event. Now, that might not seem like a big deal for somebody like Insomniac, who sells out every event, or at least the flagship titles like EDC, but when you're taking more local and regional events like Sasquatch, like End of the Road, it is very challenging to sell 60, 70, 80% of your tickets before you start making any money. So it is very high risk. And as the key metric for all music festivals, poor ticket sales is the obvious and usually the first sign that a festival is going to get canceled. However, while it is a key metric, it's not the only way to measure success for an event. Suwannee Halloween in Florida, for example, found themselves in a pretty peculiar situation earlier this year. So after their 2018 event, they announced earlier this year that they had mismanaged their funds such that they overspent in key areas, that they were canceling their 2019 event. Even though they sold out last year, they still lost money because of mismanagement of these funds. Now, if you're keeping up with this news, a few months later, they did announce that they were returning, but it's not beside the point that these productions are very expensive, very high risk, very volatile and erratic financially, that any amount of mismanagement could be very catastrophic for a music festival. And next to financial challenges, venue challenges are probably the category that comes in second in terms of what can lead to a music festival canceling. Now, venue challenges covers a pretty broad amount of categories, but I can give you some examples. Float Fest in Texas was canceled due to rain delaying construction of their new venue. Nocturnal Wonderland announced that this year would be their last after a new sound ordinance limited their ability to have the event. And Ultra Miami was at a new venue this year because the community of their last venue voted that it was too impactful. So music festivals are large productions that once a year bring in this mass of people. So to do it successfully, they require proper permits, extensive preparation to the venue to host all these people, and alignment with the local community. These are 3 things that take a lot of preparation and a lot of time. And missing any one of these things could lead to the cancellation of a music festival. But truth be told, it's usually a combination of these things. It's never just we were ready to go, but we didn't sell tickets, or we sold tickets and the venue was just completely not ready. These productions, because of the scale and the amount of money that goes into it, usually these details are so interwoven, so interwoven that one detail affects the other. Poor ticket sales means they don't have enough revenue to execute this plan that they had with the venue. So sponsors might be turned off to the event and they might pull out the money, and one thing could lead to another. So it is almost never just one of those things. A couple of examples that I can cite are Sun-Soaked, which was supposed to take place this month, and Electric Forest. So Sun-Soaked was going to expand to 2 days this year for the first time, and Electric Forest expanded to 2 weekends last year and then went back down to 1. So while their statements didn't go into depth of the effect that these expansions has, as an event organizer, I have to believe that the expansion from 1 day to 2 day, or the expansion from 1 weekend to 2 weekends, presented so many challenges which eventually led to their cancellation. Now, it's important to understand when you go from 1 day to 2 days or 1 weekend to 2 weekends, it's not just a linear increase in resources. You know, in the case of Electric Forest, you're not just in the venue for 2 weekends. You're in there Monday through Friday in between weekends. You need to set the venue, clean it all up. Now, while Electric Forest wasn't strictly a cancellation, Sun-Soaked actually was, and Cascade, the producer of the event, cited that they were not producing to the level that he was hoping to bring, which leads me to believe that it was indeed the expansion of 1 day to 2 days and the implications that that has both financially and logistically that eventually led to that cancellation. And finally, many times organizers don't even explain why. In a video I did for X Live in June, I talked about an event called Electric Fields in Scotland, who had changed venues, and then months after announcing the change, they announced that they were canceling the event, and that's pretty much all that they said. Now, there's a lot of speculation about the challenges of moving venues and how that can easily lead to a lot of logistical challenges. We've seen it all the time. We just saw it with Ultra this year, but officially nobody really knows. Another example is Grandoozy in Colorado. So that just took place, and while they sold over 50,000 tickets, they announced that they were not going to return in 2020 despite high ticket sales and alignment with the community. There are so many factors that go into a music festival being both a financial and logistical success. In the end, these cancellations are a very complex combination of these things. And then the final example is outright fraud. This is a very extreme example. This is in no way the norm, fortunately, but in the past couple of years, we've seen this a couple of times at least. So the first thing that comes to mind is the Fire Festival. If you are not familiar with that, go to Netflix, just watch the documentary, it's pretty crazy. And I'll also link to a Fire Festival video that I did earlier this year. And then most recently, there was an event in Belgium called Vestaville, and people were calling it Fire 2.0. And basically, people arrived to this event in Belgium, which had announced Cardi B, Migos, A$AP Rocky, and they got there, and they found out once they got there that the festival wasn't happening. So there was no advance notice. People had flown in from out of the country to attend, and there was no food, water, no organized exit. It was basically chaos, and currently that event is being investigated under suspicions of fraud, although nothing has officially been said. So to wrap up this video, I wanted to talk about what this means for the festival industry as a whole. In short, it's just a sign of saturation. It's just basic laws of economics. If something is making money, more suppliers are gonna get into the game until people start losing money. And I think these festival cancellations are a sign that there are just enough, if not too many festivals, that it will become a kind of survival of the fittest. There are only so many headline-worthy artists. There are only so many vendors that can accommodate these large-scale festivals, that we are gonna start seeing these smaller productions get weeded out or bought, and for the ones that are left, they will be challenged with constantly innovating, constantly trying to be better and outdo themselves and outdo their competitors. So does it mean that music festivals are gonna go away? Absolutely not. I think it is a booming industry. People love going to them, not just in the US, but all over the world. I think it's just going to evolve. Other changes that we might see are the development of more niche music festivals. C3 just announced a music festival called Metarama. It is combining the world of live music and esports. And I think that is one of many of a trend that we are already starting to see. So while there might be less numerically, I believe that the existing ones will only continue to get better. So that's my take on festival cancellations. Let me know what you all thought. Again, if you're not following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go ahead and head over there at the Beatstop TV, hit follow on all those platforms. We'll probably do more of these polls and see what you all want to hear us talk about. Hit subscribe if you got any value out of this, if you enjoyed the video. Once again, my name is Ace Antonio. Thank you so much for watching the Beatstop, and we'll see you next time.